Money is in abundance. That's the title of this video. Money is in abundance. It's a very simple statement, and I say it confidently because I believe money is in abundance. And as a result of me believing that money is in abundance, I've been able to acquire a good amount of it at a very young age. And so I challenge all of you today, if you don't have this mindset of money being in abundance, to challenge yourself and see if you can change your perspective. If potentially viewing money as being in abundance could affect your financial goals in a positive manner, right? And so a little saying that I like to say that I've heard from multiple individuals is wherever energy goes, money flows, right? So before I get into this quote, before I get into the video here, what is energy, right? What is money? What is energy, right? Well, let's break it down. Energy is everything, right? Matter, material, everything that you see is energy, right? That bed that I'm looking at right now, my bed, this whiteboard, this marker, myself, have molecules and particles within us that have energy, right? Energy is matter, energy is substance, right? And not only that, energy cannot be destroyed nor created. And so when we understand that, we conceptualize, okay, the idea of energy, right? You guys all went to fucking school. I don't really need to break it down for you. But we understand that energy is constantly moving. It's constantly in motion, right? It can't be destroyed nor created. So once we understand that, we can kind of conceptualize the idea that energy really is just money. If energy is everything, money is energy, right? The mindset that you have towards money is energy, right? Everything in this world that we are living in right now, this three-dimensional playing field, is energy, okay? So if everything is energy, money is energy, right? And so as a direct result, the correlation between that of energy and the flow of money is very hand in hand. It's very similar, right? And what I mean by that is that considering everything is energy, right, we can consider money just the same. And so wherever we put that energy, that money will flow, right? Wherever you put anything, whether it be negative thoughts, positive thoughts, so on and so forth, we will get, as a direct result, whatever it is that outcome has, right? So what I mean by that is that if you're putting good positive energy into this world, you're going to in return get that energy back, right? Same thing goes for negative, right? If you have a negative mindset about something, if you have negative emotions towards something, ultimately there will be negative that flows into your life. It's just a ones and twos game here. And so I really wanted to just simplify it to the fact that money is energy. It's very simple, okay? So because money is energy, that plays into your part, right? Because at the end of the day, if everything is energy, and if we put our effort and our energy towards that of potentially making money or viewing money as in abundance, we can have a much better chance at hitting our financial goals. And I'll break down this quote down here from this book that I'm reading called The Richest Man in Babylon, okay? And the reason why I like this book is because it's applicable in this time and realm, but it was also applicable in the times of Babylon. For any of you that don't know what Babylon was a civilization, a city, if you will, that was known to be one of the richest cities in that time, right? This was before Christ. This was one of the first civilizations, one of the first cities that actually started to follow the concepts of money. And I don't want to bore you with it, but I want to take some key portions of this book and of that time and of that period that ultimately are very applicable to this time and age. And I feel and I know confidently that if you apply it, you will have a lot of money. Very simple, very simply put, you will have a lot of money. So let's get into this, right? This quote that I pulled from the book starts with, "Wealth grows where energy is exerted. If a man builds a palace, is the gold he pays out gone? No, the brickmaker has part of it, the artist has part of it, and all who labors upon the house has part of it. Yet when the palace is completed, is it not worth all it costs? And is the ground it sits upon not worth more because it is there? Wealth grows in magical ways. No man can prophesy the limit of it." Okay? That's a very powerful quote, and it's a little lengthy, and so we're going to break it down here, right? Where wealth grows, the energy is exerted, right? Wealth grows where energy is exerted. So wherever money is being made, wherever money is being produced, right? Energy is ultimately followed behind that, right? Energy is exerted in order for wealth to ultimately grow, right? So if we know that and we conceptualize the idea that wherever we're putting our energy is where ultimately our potentiality of making money will grow. Well, that's a very, 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 very motivating idea, because we all put energy into this world, right? But what are you putting your energy into? I want you to question that. I want you to ask that. I want you to come to the conclusion of whether or not you're actually putting your energy towards where money is going, right? Whether it be your 9 to 5, whether it be the schooling that you're taking right now, whether it be an entrepreneurial journey that you're on, wherever you're exerting your energy, that wealth will grow, right? And here's the reality: wealth grows at different limitations. Wealth grows at different paces. And so one person working a 9 to 5 at McDonald's may not make as much, or the wealth of wherever he's exerting his energy towards may not grow to the degree of someone that's maybe building a business, maybe someone that's doing actually something that they enjoy doing. Because as we all know, when we do things that we actually enjoy, our energy is more exerted into it. Our thought process, our body, our emotions are engaged. And so if you're doing something that you don't enjoy, if you're doing something that you actually don't really want to be doing, the energy output is going to be less than that of something that you're actually interested in, something that you actually want to be doing, right? It's very simple, very common knowledge, right? So we need to start to take a look at the things that we're actually putting our energy towards and asking ourselves, are we putting most of our energy into this particular thing because we like it, or are we not, right? If we don't like it, we're going to put less energy towards it, and as a result, wealth will grow less, right? But if we're putting our energy towards something that's good, the wealth will grow more. Very simple. So that's the first line of that we just broke down, okay? If we put our energy towards the right things, our wealth will grow more than that if we put our energy towards things that we don't want to be doing. It's very common sense, right? The results will be less, okay? If a man builds a palace, is the gold he pays out gone, right? Very simple question that you need to think to yourself. If I pay for something, right? If I pay for that Starbucks drink, if I pay for that subscription, if I pay for that Netflix, if I pay for this, if I pay for that, if I pay for the new Jordans, is that money gone, right? Well, maybe out of your pocket, but no, it went into the economy. It went into the world, right? That money is not gone. Once again, energy cannot be destroyed nor created. And so when we realize that, that money is not gone, that energy is not gone. It is in the pockets of whoever we are paying. It is in the pockets of that Jordan shoe provider. It is in the pockets of Netflix. It is in the pockets of Starbucks. You have to understand that every dollar you give is being exerted into the pockets of others. And so once we realize that, we conceptualize the idea that money will not go away. It is always here. It has always been here since Babylon. And when we realize that money is energy, right, that energy is being put towards those that are receiving it, right? Starbucks is receiving your money. Netflix is receiving your money. They're receiving that energy. And as a result, right, the reason why they're receiving that is because they're exerting their energy, they're exerting their wherewithal and their power into the world in order to attain that money. They have built businesses, they have built systems that ultimately allows their wealth to grow because they've put their energy towards that. They've exerted something that they actually potentially love, that they actually enjoy doing, and as a result, their wealth has grown because of it, right? You've given your energy towards them, right? They're receiving energy. They're not only just suppliers of energy, but they receive it as well. So I want you guys to understand that money doesn't go away when you spend it. It may feel that way, right, for you personally, but you have to realize that every dollar you spend is going in the pocket of someone else's. And so money is ever flowing, okay? So the money is not gone, okay? Because he states here, no, the brick maker has part of it, and the artist has part of it, and all who labor upon the house have part of it. I just broke that down for you. Yet when the palace is completed, is it not worth all it costs, right? When you buy a home, right, when you put down a down payment on a home and you finally pay it off, right, you pay off that mortgage, the cost of whatever you paid for that home potentially could have increased in value, right? But on top of that, you ultimately can potentially, unless the market takes a hit, so on and so forth, can sell that house for whatever you paid for it, or potentially more. That's the goal of people buying a house a lot of times, which me, myself, I'm not going to get into that, but it might not even be the best financial investment in regards to an asset. We view it as an asset, but there's a lot more things that you could be putting your money towards that can allow you for your wealth to grow. But that's besides the point. The house is worth its cost, right? The house is worth whatever you put into it. The house is worth whatever energy you exerted upon it, right? And is the ground it sits upon not worth more because it is there, right? Did it not increase in value, right? Did the energy that we put into that house, the energy that all these individuals put into the house, not potentially increase the value of it because of the energy exerted, right? The wealth, right, has grown upon the land that that palace sits because energy was exerted upon it, right? So that's a very simple thing to break down, right? Wealth grows in magic ways, right? No man can prophesy the limit of it. So some of you may not even be able to conceptualize the idea of money growing wherever energy flows, right? And it's because you've never been taught it. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to provide a service to you, to be able to show you how money ultimately grows, right? Because it's a very simple concept when you break it down. But I want to give you some statistics to kind of be able to break it down for all of you, because I know sometimes facts help, right? Sometimes being able to see a statistic will be able to give you an idea of how much money there really is and be able to break down the idea of something, right? So of January 1st, 2025, $2.37 trillion is within our economy right now. So I know some of you can't even conceptualize the idea of a trillion. I can't even conceptualize the dollar amount of a trillion. But understand that $2.37 trillion is a lot of fucking money, okay? And so if there's trillion, within the economy right now, do you think for a fucking second you can't have a little portion of that? If you had $100,000 of that trillion, do you think it would hurt the economy? No. My point is that there is so much money in abundance. There is so much money in flow right now because people are exerting it in the right places. The U.S. has exerted it in the right places. Now, maybe not all the time. I tell you this, it's probably not the greatest thing that the government is printing money. But my point is that they're printing money constantly. And so if you think for a second that you can't have it, it's only because of your limiting beliefs. It's only because of your mindset right now. And I promise all of you that you can fucking have it if you just exert your energy in the right places. Because as we know, and as we've broken this down, energy is exerted, and as a result, wealth grows, right? So money is in abundance, right? 95% of millennials are saving less than the recommended amount, okay? So the reason I state that is because there is no fucking competition for you, okay? The whole encompassing idea of this video is to realize and allow you to realize the fact that there is so much money in abundance. And not only that, less people are saving. 95% of millennials are saving less than they should be in order to reach their financial goals. And so when we conceptualize that idea, we, number one, realize that there is no competition, if very little of it. And if we are doing our due diligence as good human beings to exert the right energy amounts and the right energy in the right places, our wealth as a result will grow. There's obviously enough wealth to go around. And on top of that, 95% of individuals in the millennial group, right? You may be part of it, you may not be. My point is that if it's that staggering of a statistic, it shows that people aren't doing the due diligence that they need to be doing in order to reach their financial goals. And so if you can, you fucking win the game. That's my point here, is that money is in abundance. And as a result of money being in abundance, right? You can win if you just outcompete people, right? And so how do you outcompete people, right? I give you the layout, I give you the spiel, but how can you outcompete people, right? It's very simple. Number one, start saving, right? Saving. Save your money. I go back to the point that I made earlier, claiming the fact that the more money you spend, the more money you're putting into people's pockets, right? The more money that you spend, the more energy you're exerting into those people's pockets. You have to understand that if you exert it in the right places of actually allowing your money to grow, allowing your money to make money upon itself, right? Making money your slave, right? And I know that's a weird analogy, but you have to make money your slave. You have to make it work for you. You have to exert it in the right places where it will grow upon itself. And so, number one, if you save, you have that money to be able to put into different places where wealth can grow, right? You put it towards places where that energy can be exerted, and as a result, the wealth will grow because of it. And so saving is one of these things that you hear all the time. It's a buzzword, right? Save this, save that, make sure you're saving. But people obviously aren't doing it. So if you do it, you'll have more money. Plain and simple, right? If 95% of millennials aren't saving, well, where do you think that money's going? Where do you think all that money's going if it's not going in their pockets? It's going back out into the economy. And that's why I state the fact that money is in abundance, because once you conceptualize the idea that these people are spending, right? People are spending every second of every day, and you yourself may be doing so. If you shift your reality, if you shift your perspective, you start to realize that you can be the one that's actually receiving the money as opposed to spending it, right? Where everybody else is spending, you're receiving. And so the whole goal here is to receive as opposed to spend. Because once we start receiving as opposed to spending, our energy starts to go in the right places. And so my point with this is that there are so many ways to make money. And if we know that there's so many ways to make money, and we know that money is abundant, why don't you have enough of it? And so I challenge all of you to take a second and look at your habits. Look at the ways you're spending money. Look at the places that you're putting it. Because once you realize that you're spending it on stupid things, you start to understand that all you have to do to have more of it is to save more of it, right? To put it in the places that it'll make more for you, right? So for example, investments. Okay, I know I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty of the particular investments because that's not the point here. We have to start with a base. I'm not going to give you a spiel of all these investments that you can make, right? All these high-yield saving accounts that you can make, because they're out there, but you have to do your due diligence to seek them out. And part of that is watching YouTube. Part of that is listening to podcasts, but also part of it is sitting down and asking yourself, who do I know in my life? What people am I surrounding myself with? Am I surrounding myself with individuals that perceive, money in a different way? They perceive money as being not abundant, right? Because if you surround yourself around those individuals, the likability of you perceiving money that way as well is very high. And so you need to start surrounding yourself with people that view money as abundant, because they'll tell you things that you need to know in order to make more of it. And so, guys, it's very simple here. Money is in abundance because people are spending constantly. People are spending constantly. And so if you're the individual that can set yourself up in such a way that you take advantage of the fact that people are spending and that there's so much of it in the economy that we grow and live in today, you can make more of it. And so receiving is better than spending. And I want to leave you with this last little bit, okay, of this book that I'm reading, right? The Richest Man in Babylon. Fantastic book. But I want to leave you with this little quote that's at the end of it, right? And so there's an individual in the book, he's called Arcade. His name is Arcade or something like that. That's his name. Can't really pronounce it entirely. And I'm going to keep that in the video to show this is real and raw. But my point being is that a lot of people hear this and it'll go through one ear and out the other, right? They'll look at it, they'll see me, they'll think, this kid doesn't know shit, this kid doesn't know anything, but just try it, test it. Try for a month, try for 2 months, save more than you spend, right? Start to look into ways in which you can invest your money, right? Start looking at ways in which you can ultimately put your money towards where energy is exerted, and then as a result, the wealth grows, right? Do your due diligence as an individual to figure it out, right? And if you don't, that's fine. Your life won't change. Your life will be the same. But I encourage and I recommend to all of you to try this, because I promise you, it's had benefits for my life and it's had benefits for millions of other individuals, even in the times of Babylon, that did it. And so I'm going to leave you with this little bit. Okay, after Arcade ultimately, explains this whole spiel and goes through all these different tips and tricks that these people can follow, the book ends with this. His friends thanked him and went away. Some were silent because they had no imagination and could not understand. You might be in that spot right now. You may be hearing me, and then once again, it goes out the other ear. But if you have imagination, if you allow your brain to actually think about possibilities of potentially receiving money as opposed to spending it, as potentially of saving your money as opposed to spending it, as opposed to making investments as opposed to spending it, you'll realize very quickly that it has very big added benefit into your life. But again, some people won't take that from this video, right? Some were sarcastic because they thought that one so rich should divide with all his friends that are not so fortunate, right? But some had in their eyes a new light. They realized that Gilgamesh, right, which Gilgamesh was a mentor of our card in that time, right, had come back each time in the room of scribes because he was teaching a man work his way out of darkness into light, right? Arkad was ultimately, someone that didn't have a lot of money in the book. It talks about that, right? You may be in that situation. I was in that situation. But because he had a mentor, and because that mentor kept visiting him and exerting his energy into him based off what he had learned, right, his wealth tended to grow. And that's where I refer back to the point where you need to surround yourself with the right people. You need to surround yourself with the people that know what they're talking about in regards to finance, right? So I continue here that says, when that man had found the light, a place awaited him. No one could fill that place until he had worked for himself out his understanding, until he was ready for opportunity. So my point, ultimately, I know that was a little sloppy. My point is this, guys. If you do your due diligence in seeking out the right information, if you do your due diligence in exerting your energy, right, wherever you're exerting your energy in today, into ways of building wealth, I promise you, your wealth will grow. Because I can almost assume, and I can almost hypothesize the fact that you are putting your energy in places that will not give you the return you're looking for. You are putting your energy towards places that are not giving you the money that you desire, are not giving you the wealth and abundance that you desire. And so you need to start looking at your habits. You need to start looking at the ways that you're spending money, the ways that you're saving money. And ask yourself, if 95% of people are spending and there's $2.37 trillion out there, why the fuck can't you be the one that's receiving it? You can. And that's the whole point of this video, is that you can do it. You just need to be you need to be utilizing your energy in the right places. You need to be exerting it to where your wealth will ultimately grow. And I promise you, if you apply one principle from this video, you will have more money, you will have more wealth, and you will have more abundance in your life than you've ever had. So God bless all of you. I pray that this gave you some insight on why I believe money is in abundance, why the fact that you can all have the abundance that you're desiring, and that all of you can change your lives with a simple decision of saving your money, of investing your money, and of exerting your energy towards the places where your wealth will grow. God bless. Take care. See ya.